For this question, I'm going to talk about what I've learned in the progression from my preliminary task to my full media product. I'm going to do this by comparing the two products. The first preliminary task for a front cover that I did was for a school magazine. It's very basic and amateur and looks like a school project rather than a professional media product. I've only used two rectangular shapes without much editing and a simple masthead at the top. There's no slogan or cover line, strapline or banner. The central image is quite boring and no one is looking at the camera, but I still like the use of colour. In contrast to this, my full product music magazine cover is this. I have used advanced tools on Photoshop and I've made use of various media devices to attract and appeal to my target audience. Although using Photoshop for my preliminary product as well, I was very nervous and didn't like it and found it very confusing. But by the time I got used to it and produced my final product, I became more confident as I knew how to do different things, and I also liked working with the idea of a music magazine rather than a school magazine. In producing my final product, I have learned editing techniques such as airbrushing, selecting different fonts and using different shapes, such as circles and splodges, and how to create the best layout. My preliminary task for the contents is very basic and there's too much white space. I used a poor choice of colour because it didn't come out very well when it was printed, and there's no images and it looks very unprofessional. In my final product for the contents, I learned how to make the use of space. By comparing the two, it's obvious what progress I have made. I've used many different shapes and broke up the page with different fonts, colours and sizes. The layout looks much more professional and contains an editor's note to welcome the readers as well. For the full media product, I also made a double page spread, but I did not do a preliminary task for this as I'd already learned how to create a reasonable product without having to prepare for it beforehand. However, for this I used InDesign rather than Photoshop, which is very similar, and once I had the hang of it, it was very simple to use. In the rest of the evaluation, I spent time explaining my use of media devices in the design and the layout of my product. I also discuss my target audience for my magazine, and I look at media institutions as well as evaluating what I've learned about the technologies used.